The British people have spoken, and the answer is we're out.
To leave the European Union.
Do solemnly swear.
Alternative facts are not facts.
W zgiełku i chaosie liczy się wiedza. To ona daje ci przestrzeń do myślenia. Polityka Insight. Dostarczamy wiedzę uporządkowaną i pogłębioną, a decyzje należą do ciebie.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you for this nice invitation. I don't know why. What was that I deserve such a difficult topic, because it's been forever that the people were debating what's the role of the state in the economy, from monetarism through capital and many other questions. What should the right economy be, and what should be the model of the state? We can certainly say that the 20th century saw the role of economy in the state increasing, or the state of the economy increasing, so we can say it was an age of an increased intervention of the state in the economy. When Bismarck was taking power 140 years ago, the share of public sector in the GDP was about 6–7%. In the main industrialized countries, at the threshold of the previous century, it was about 40%. So we can say that the public sector started playing a key role over the recent 100 years, and it was done through the spending, through the health sector, through various social transfers, which on one hand became a manifestation of the civilization progress, and we also have to remember that we witness quite an increase of the standards of living, and the role of the state in the economy was very positive, reduced some inequalities, which is evidenced by the Gini index. If we take a look at it before the social transfers, we can see that in the majority of economies the inequality scale is huge. Social transfers are able to reduce this inequalities by the factor of 10 or 15%. So one can see that this role of the state proved very positive. But it is also true that nowadays the most developed economies have their public deficits higher than 100%. Because of the activism of the state on the spending side, and due to the imbalanced budgets, which leads to some tensions both in Eurozone and in some other places, be it the United States. So one could propose a notion or ask the question whether over the next 2 decades the countries which are right now are heavily indebted will be able to afford to play even a bigger role in the economy. And as it is plainly known, some of these countries resorted to intervention in a slightly different way, not being able to increase the spending. They've decided to implement loose monetary policy, and some people say that it is tantamount to printing money, and some of the countries somewhere between creative destruction and creative printing in order to prevent the main economies of the EU zone or in the US or in Japan from the wider adjustment, which is to say wider recession with all its consequences as a result of the growth which was not balanced. So the question whether there is some room for a bigger or smaller role of the state is still pertinent, and it is a conventional wisdom that most of the countries departed from the Washington Consensus, which over the 1990s was a mainstream policy, and it was providing a lot of benefits at the time by
Ameryka Południowa do międzynarodowego
into
wzrostu gospodarczego. Ten okres część ekonomistów nazywa czasami wielkim umiarkowaniem, great moderation, natomiast trzeba pamiętać, że ten okres wielkiego umiarkowania w 2008 roku skończył się potężnym nieumiarkowaniem, bo gospodarka jednak zwłaszcza
with huge immoderation, which as a result of the regulation of the financial sector
turbulencje. Jeżeli popatrzymy na to z perspektywy polskiej, to też my jesteśmy w takim szczególnym miejscu, że cały czas nadrabiamy, można powiedzieć, prawie 200 lat historii, która nie była dla nas łaskawa. Nie mieliśmy w tym czasie zbyt wiele możliwości zwiększyć.
Good for us. We didn't have too much opportunity to increase our assets and the potential of our economy, and for the last 25 years we've been catching up. At the beginning of the 1990s, our productivity was about 1/3 of the EU average. As of today, this distance is half lower. We are close to 70% of the EU average, and it seems that we still have a lot to do. And if we take a look at how this model has been financed, what Prime Minister Morawiecki is often referring to, we are owing a lot of this to the imports, and it also leads to some negative consequences in the form of payment balance or the negative international investment position. And it is important to rethink this growth model and orient it more towards the development of the local capital market, local capital investments, developing a modern economy based on as much as possible local innovations. And the Polish Development Fund was set up in order to be able to identify those areas in the Polish economy which are not functioning very well, and the very existence of which is crucial in order to develop a competitive economy. We are not aiming our activities to replace or push away a private sector, just the opposite. We would like to be a complementary part to it and to reinforce it or strengthen it. We would like to strengthen local entrepreneurship and not introduce protectionism to the Polish economy or state influence. If we take a look which areas are considered, we believe that financing SMEs is one of those areas. Over the recent years, we had the minimis guarantee program, which is aimed at improving the accessibility and availability of loans in this segment. We would like to continue these programs. This is certainly a program connected with the financing of the innovation, And since the experience across the world shows that the private sector, especially with regards to innovation at the very early stage, be it basic studies or the stage before commercialization, the private sector does not want to cover this risk, so the state could step in and be active. Another area is financing exports, especially for difficult markets where the entrepreneurs have some difficulties to finance the risk, and they would like to insure this risk. And with regards to the promotion of the export activities, because often, especially SMEs, cannot afford to have representation abroad to purchase a full expertise on a given market or a contractor, so they need a support. The fourth area is infrastructure, which, despite the fact that Poland made quite a leap when it comes to the quality of the infrastructure, when we talk about the local infrastructure, so government infrastructure, or when we talk about large infrastructure, just like railway, airports, these needs are still at a very high level, and here we see our mandate. And the last area where we identify certain market gaps and which we would like to bridge is a very long-term financing. Right now, banking regulations have been made so much more rigorous that especially the long-term loans, and we are talking here 20-25 years, it is more and more difficult to acquire this capital. We would like to take on such projects, just like last year, financing of the ferry building. We would like to go about such projects, and we would like to pursue such projects. And in other words, I would say that the role of the state in the economy should be similar to medicine. If you adjust the right dosage, it's okay, but it is easy to overdose or to get somebody hooked on it. So one needs to be very self-restrained to provide this kind of support only in the areas where it is essential.